in 90s we got more influence from Western countries. We started to live this Western lifestyle, while in Soviet Union we didn't, our parents didn't, and now we live life as our parents did in Soviet Union. We're independent and we're free.
So this is your song, right? Yeah.
How many songs do you have written so far?
We can check on platforms. I think that's 30. We made 25,000 in like half year.
In half years.
We're growing very fast. We'll have concerts in different cities.
In different cities.
Moscow, in St. Petersburg, in Yekaterinburg, in Krasnodar,
okay.
And other small cities near Moscow.
So, when will be your next concert?
I think in September. Now we earn around 20,000 rubles. I'd say we're not an underground band anymore, so people know us. And sometimes when I go to bar, people recognize me. And but at the same time, that's not enough to earn living by making music. Because if you want to have enough money to live in Moscow, you should have 1 million per month.
1 million.
1 million people, listeners per month.
Do you have a target, set a goal for this year? How many followers you want?
At least 100,000.
Since the 2022, we saw a lot of sanctions. We have never seen any country can be sanctioned so many times in so many areas like Russia. So what impact to your daily lives and for the normal Russian people?
I think that's a specific part of Russian history. Every 10 or 15 years we get sanctioned by Western countries or other countries of the world, and we just got used to it. And of course the prices are a bit higher than before. Salaries now are a bit higher than previously, so that compensates that. The prices on food are not very high, and they're not much higher than previously because Russia is one of food-producing countries, and that's why I don't feel unsafe here. They just the government created all the opportunities to live life as we did before. Before sanctions, we were not independent in political sphere, economic sphere, and after sanctions,
you get more independent.
We got more independent. We created a lot of factories here. We created a lot of our Russian brands, and we imported more Chinese brands. So now we've got everything, but at the same time, we don't have to follow the rules of Western countries.
The sanction has forced the two sides to be more independent.
In 90s we got more influence from Western countries, so our culture has changed, and we got used to McDonald's, so Western brands of cars, and we started to live this Western lifestyle, while in Soviet Union we didn't, our parents didn't, and that's why now we live life as our parents did in Soviet Union. We're independent and we're free at the same time.
Yeah, the old people like this lady, those people, they believe that I believe them. They don't want to be too much rely on the West, right?
They just want to go out of city to grow vegetables or fruits there in their small farm and their garden. And that's Russian lifestyle, typical Russian lifestyle. When you get 40 or like 60 years old, you just buy a house near small cities and live there, and that's more traditional and authentic. And as I understand, a lot of European citizens want to live the same life like in their countries because they have more pressure of United States. As I know, I've got some friends who live in Europe, and they say that people respect them because of they're from such a independent Eastern country, while their governments can have their own independent policy, and that's why. And we are still respected for our culture and so on. And so that's what will stay with us till the end of this century.
Where's the Kremlin, the Red Square?
Somewhere there.
Somewhere on that direction.
There's Moscow City, which
Moscow
we call
City.
CBD.
CBD, yes.
And I go there for 2 hours.
Now I'm sitting at a cafe in a shopping mall, one of the most prosperous shopping mall in Moscow, which is called Alfie Mall. And the name of the cafe is Stars Coffee. Maybe many of you can recognize that this is the Russian-style Starbucks. After 2022, many Western brands, including Starbucks, McDonald's, KFC, etc., have pulled out from Moscow, from Russian market. And it surprised me that all of these localized Western brands, including the restaurant and cafe, are remained very popular. It takes me about 10 minutes to find a seat in this cafe. And also, in the Russian-style McDonald's, which called Vkusno Itoshka, which means delicious, period. I see many people are waiting outside for a chance to order the fast foods from the restaurant. Maybe many of you are thinking about the difference between the Stars Coffee and Starbucks. Let me have a taste. No difference.
As for the person, I'm very upset that some shops left Russia, right? Like I loved IKEA, for example, with my mom and with my fiance. We liked the shop very much. But if these shops left, they leave a lot of space for development of local companies. So they kind of attend this niche. We see that this is a real development, right? Because, for example, I'm wearing the local brands, Russian brands, and they are done very well, just extremely well, and they are of especially high quality, and this is really cool story.
Вот вы можете зайти в любой супермаркет, не только в Москве, но и в любом другом российском городе и увидеть, что пустых полок нет. Все товары представлены в полном ассортименте. Да, действительно, какие-то товары, которые были импортные, теперь заменены отечественными товарами. Но с другой стороны, вот если подумать, эти же товары есть, их отечественная промышленность смогла произвести, значит, уже есть прочная промышленная база для того, чтобы реализовывать успешно то самое импортозамещение.
As an economist, I would mention the payments, international payments, which is one of the greatest challenges. Now, for example, if Russia and China and India and all the other, like we call it friendly countries to Russia, right? When they introduce these payment solving story, like electronic payments, like we have the internal payments in internal currencies like national currencies, right? Instead of US dollars, we're going with that. Also with China, for example, and with Eurasian Economic Union countries. So in this case, we see that this sector is developing, but it needs to develop more because it's really not enough. Because many banks say, sorry, we cannot trade with you, we cannot provide the payments from you because you are Russian, even if the company is not under sanctions, but they still say, sorry, we are Russia affiliated, everything which is Russia affiliated can be exposed to secondary sanction, but no one wants them. This is the case, right?
Конечно, есть какие-то точечные неприятные моменты, ну, как, например, невозможность воспользоваться российскими банковскими картами при зарубежных поездках. Это, конечно, неудобно. Второй момент, наверное, невозможность оплачивать какие-то международные сервисы с помощью российских банковских карт. Это тоже, конечно же, неудобство. И, может быть, какие-то точечные моменты и есть, особенно для тех, кто по каким-то личным или рабочим причинам вынужден путешествовать за рубеж, особенно в недружественные страны. Да, конечно, здесь много ограничений, но для жизни в России проблем нет никаких.
So it seems like the sanction is not working.
So actually, when the situation came into effect, right, everybody was so afraid, and including both Russian experts and the international society, and they predicted initially, right, somewhere in spring 2022, that Russian GDP will shrink by 8 to 9%, and the forecasts were just awful. But in the end, it just went down by 2.1%, but further it was revised by 1.2%, so the real effect was not that large. The key reasons why that happened, first, it was that there was a huge volume of accumulated reserves, like of various types, so both equipment reserves and import reserves and so on. And the SWIFT was went from Russia, right? And but we have our local payment system, which was developed by the Bank of Russia, and in this case, all our internal financial things, they stay as they are, right? Another story is that accumulated, as I've told you, assets of various companies, including machinery, equipment, and so on, they helped to, I would say, support the economic sectors, various economic sectors throughout the first months when nobody knew what would happen, right? The third point is that our government was working on supporting the various spheres of Russian economy, starting from demography, finishing with transport equipment, and so on, and machinery. We saw about 30% growth of various electronic devices and the production, transportation growth, internal tourism development. If you go to the centers, like shopping centers, okay, in Moscow, I've been to Yekaterinburg and to even Novy Urengoy. This is very far, like on the north of Russia, right? The people are working, the people are going there, buying various stuff, so consumption also works. And one more reason, it was that the oil prices, due to all the story, were very high, right? And this also supported both Russian economy and the budget and the current account.
Moscow metro system is one of the most magnificent and artistic ones of the world. Metro stations have been designed in different styles, and you can see the different part of the histories of the country, from the former Soviet Union to the Russia Federation. Now I'm standing at the Michelin station, one of the most beautiful, special, and advanced railway stations in Moscow. From 1950s to 1960s, China was seeking advice from Soviet Union experts to build its own subway line in Beijing. And today, China is returning the favor. Michelin Station was built by the Chinese company China Railway Construction Group Corporation in 2021. Today in Russia, many people are increasingly welcome the products made in China. Not only the metro station, but also mobile phones, EV cars, and restaurants.
Would you buy Chinese electric vehicles, EV cars for your next new car?
I'd like to buy Xiaomi new car, and also I like Lisan.
The Su7.
Su7. It's not very expensive, and
it's not very
that's
expensive,
sporty, and that looks like Porsche.
Ah, yeah, looks like Porsche, yes.
Shangan, Chang'an is Uni V, and also I like Lisan. What's cool is that you can order a Chinese car on marketplaces, online marketplaces, and they just deliver a car to your home.
Oh, they bring it to your home. Okay.
Yeah, that takes like less than 1 week, and that's
It's only Chinese brand do have this kind of service, or all of them?
only Chinese.
Only Chinese.
Chinese, Russian. Some Russian cars can be delivered that way.
Okay.
But I wouldn't buy Lada.
Вот посмотрите, хороший очень пример. Западные производители, многие ушли с российского рынка официально. Но этот рынок тут же заняли китайские автопроизводители. До 2022 года доля китайских автомобилей на российском рынке среди продаж новых автомобилей не превышала 5%. Сейчас эта доля превышает 50% по данным Автостата за прошлый год. То есть, и это видно невооруженным глазом, на дорогах посмотрите, вполне с большой долей вероятности такси, на котором вы ехали, допустим, в аэропорт, будет китайский автомобиль. Плохо это или хорошо, ну, трудно сказать, но это рыночная тенденция. И, допустим, не произошло каких-то драматических изменений автомобильного рынка настолько, что, например, россиянам оказалось просто не на чем ездить. Нет. Есть новые автомобили на любой вкус, цвет и кошелек. Просто они китайские.
My student is doing his coursework on the electric vehicles, EV production, automotive industry, Chinese automotive industry, and indeed, you've guys done a great job. That's true. You're fast and clever, and they just put here and they cover this niche, right? Now, the same, for example, was done by our local producers, which also now start to produce these electric vehicles. Your cars are of good quality, they are acceptable, and they are not that expensive like the European analogs, right? So I think that your development is a good case. So Russia is should, and it does, right, take specific measures which you also introduce, like our government also provides some things, that some support both for producers and for the buyers, like you do not pay for parking if you have the electric car.
When the Western world find that their sanctions are not working, they want to blame someone, so they come to blame China. So you think this is unfair?
Sure, they cannot blame anyone, right? And why blame, actually? So the thing is that in my side, the West is supplying Ukraine with a lot of military equipment. If they don't do it, the situation has been over many years ago, but yes, still it is going. So who to blame? This is a question, but I think that the voices should think before blaming someone.
I got this one from Beijing. We were traveling to Beijing one of these times, and this one was bought at the same time in the same trip. Shanghai, we traveled in autumn, or I don't know when it happens, but we bought this, and I like Shanghai very much. If I move to China, I'd probably live in Shanghai.
Oh.
If somebody gave me a lot of money, I'd rent a house there.
Okay. They're gonna need a lot of money if you want to live there.
I'll try to find a great job. This was bought in Wailing when I was 16 or 17 years old.
Dragon Bridge Terrace. Oh, 龙脊梯田. Have you tried the rice noodle?
Of course.
You like it?
Yeah.
Because the Guilin is in my hometown. I'm from Guangxi. When did you start to learn Chinese?
When I got to university, when I was 17.
17.
When I started my studies at Moscow State University. I was 17, yeah, and so now I study Chinese for 4
years.
4 years, yeah.
4 years.
I'd like to have different jobs. I'd like to get more and more experience, so I'd like to have business, or at the same time I'd like to work somewhere, and I'd like to continue my work now, and I'd like to write music. So I'd like to work with culture, Russian Chinese culture.
And so if you can speak Chinese in Russia, in Moscow, it's easy to find a job.
Yeah, because where you live, nearby there's Bosco restaurant, and I know the salaries for 服务员, for waiters there, if you speak Chinese, are much higher than even higher than in media.
How much is it?
It's like
200,000.
More and more people want to travel, and that's not very easy to travel to Europe. So they go to China, and also there's Hainan, which is very convenient now, because there's no visa, and they want to relax there. I like Chinese food because here we don't have an opportunity to buy original Chinese food, so there are only restaurants, and they're not so typical as Chinese. But now, recently, this year, a lot of Chinese restaurants and cafes were open here. Thanks to sanctions. Thanks to sanctions, I've got an opportunity to eat Chinese food here.
Хотела язык начать идти, вот учу сейчас. Обожаю эту страну.
Ну что вы знаете на китайском?
Ну, нихаома.
Она очень мечтает поехать в Китай и там быть моделью работать.
Да, это моя
Все, это ее мечта.
Это ваша мечта.
Да, это ее мечта.
А ваша?
Посетить, и тоже хочу работать там, язык изучить. Вот. И вообще просто посетить, потому что она очень красивая страна. Я очень мечтаю с детства там посетить, полететь
поработать,
туда.
Может быть.
Поработать тоже хочу там.
Ну, во-первых, язык выучить.
Да,
это
самое главное.
Самое главное – это язык учить.
我觉得俄罗斯和中国是很好的朋友，所以我们两国要推动我们的互利合作。谢谢。
待会儿说吧，待会儿说。Magnificent, beautiful. Normally in China we have a tradition that when you see the fireworks, you make some wish for the future.
In Russia we have tradition of not telling wishes.
Oh, not telling wishes.
Yes. I'd like this year, next year to be peaceful and
Prosperous.
continue to promote Russian-Chinese relations.
And the friendship between our two countries.